Shocker of the century, the Pixel 4 has a great camera. But there are other reasons Google's new phone is worth checking out. Here's our review. Aside from phenomenal dual cameras on the back, the Pixel 4 has a gorgeous 90Hz display, 3D facial recognition that can be used for much more than unlocking your phone, and the ability to use air gestures for shortcuts. For all this, you'll pay $799 for the base 64GB model. If you want more storage or an upgrade to the larger Pixel 4 XL, you'll have to spend at least $899. What makes the Pixels easier to buy this time around is that Google is finally bringing the phone to all major carriers in the US. No matter whether you buy the 5.7-inch Pixel 4 or the 6.3-inch XL, you'll get the same camera and internals, save for the screen and battery size. You'll also get the same design, which is polarizing to say the least. If you think bezels are a blight on humanity, look away. Conversely, if you were disgusted by the Pixel 3 XL's fugly notch last year, you might actually not mind the Pixel 4's rather prominent forehead. In Google's defense, there is a lot of tech stashed up here, so at least it's not wasted space. The Pixel 4 comes in 3 colors: clearly white, which we have here, just black, and oh so orange, which is a limited edition. Even on this white version, you get an interesting mix of hues. The matte glass plays off nicely against the matte black edges and the orange power button, and it lends a bit of pop. But of course, this is a Pixel, and you're not here for design, you're here for photos. And boy, can this phone take some photos. New for this year's model is a second telephoto lens with a 2x optical zoom. The Pixel 4 combines the power of that lens with Google's Super Res Zoom technology to deliver digital zoom at up to 8x that isn't as lossy as on other phones. Oh, and there's AI white balancing, and an astrophotography mode, and improved HDR mode that shows you what the final photo will look like before you take it. You get the idea. Software and machine learning are what makes the Pixel 4 cameras so good. And while I wouldn't say that they're outright better than the iPhone 11 Pro's cameras in every instance, both phones have their advantages and disadvantages. The iPhone has that ultra-wide lens, which you don't get here. But Super Res Zoom makes the Pixel 4 far and away better when you're taking images from a distance. The iPhone takes really crisp photos, whereas the Pixels don't seem to be as sharp but have more realistic lighting. As for the Pixel 4's other headline features, there's Face Unlock, Motion Sense, and that 90Hz display. Let's start with Face Unlock. It works a lot like Face ID on iPhones, and it even works when the phone is lying flat on the surface because of a radar chip that's built into the top of the Pixel 4 and knows when you're about to unlock the phone before you do. The Pixel 4 uses that radar to enable motion sense features, which let you perform air gestures for shortcuts in midair. Some of these include skipping songs and snoozing alarms. The gestures actually work well. There's a bit of a learning curve, though it's not as steep or as unreliable as on other phones that have tried similar technology in the past. Looking at you, LG. The problem is that there's not much else you can really do with motion sense aside from skipping songs and quieting alarms, so it would be cool to see Google add more functionality in the future. And finally, there's the display. The 90Hz OLED screen on the Pixel 4 has a faster refresh rate than most other phones, which makes animation super smooth and responsive. The colors on this panel are really vivid and accurate too. But the lone issue is that the screen is just a little bit too dim. At a peak brightness of 429 nits, the Pixel 4 is decimated by the 752 nit peak of the iPhone 11 Pro or the Galaxy Note 10 at 674 nits. That really makes outdoor viewing on a sunny day difficult, to say the least. But the biggest problem with the Pixel 4 isn't that display, it's the battery life. The Pixel 4 has a more taxing screen, because it's 90Hz, a radar that constantly broadcasts for gestures, and that fancy new Face Unlock system. All of those things sap energy, but Google made the strange decision to make the Pixel 4's battery smaller than it was on the Pixel 3. At just 2800 milliamp hours, it's pretty small compared to most phones in fact, and so it doesn't last very long. The Pixel 4 only ran for 8 hours and 3 minutes in our battery test, which is 3 hours less than the iPhone 11 Pro and 2.5 hours less than the iPhone 11. Even the Note 10 lasted an hour longer than the Pixel 4. At least it charges kind of fast, which is good because you'll be charging it pretty often. The poor battery life is a shame because it hurts what is otherwise an amazing phone. We love the Pixel 4's new features, silky smooth display, and solid all-around software and performance. And of course, we love the camera. But at a time when it seems like other phone makers are finally listening to customers who want longer battery life, Google just isn't giving its users the same peace of mind. For an even more in-depth look at the Pixel 4, read our full review at Tom's Guide.